Hey, Lunenburg, your Music Central. I am Jackson Roberts, and welcome to the third episode of the Student Media Podcast. I got a couple fun guests here with me today. We'll start with Brandon. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Brandon Matisich. Second year here at Central. I'm doing film, I'm doing media and journalism. Here to talk about The Observer, here to talk about a little social media, a little California.
Oh, yeah.
Story, you know.
Anything. And then Brian, go ahead and introduce yourself as well.
Oh, well, my name is Brian Valencia. I'm a public relations student, and I am in the Pulse team. I am web and social media and also a writer.
What is your major? And I'll ask you as well, Brandon.
Yeah, well, my major is the PR as public relations, and I got a minor in digital marketing.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'm doing film, and I'm also doing media and journalism.
Awesome. Well, so I want to ask you guys a little bit about what you guys do at your respective areas. So you obviously working in Pulse Magazine, you're working in Observer. Brandon, talk to me about the Observer. When did you start, and how fun has it been in your time there?
Yeah, so I started about last year. I mean, I'm employed as of this year. This is my first quarter employed. Last year I was in the class doing writing and photography. This quarter I'm doing photography. I'm the lead photographer, and I'm also doing the social media for the Observer. So, I mean, it's been really fun. There's a reason I stuck around after last year. It's because I love what I do. I've never had the opportunity to do professional photography, and this is kind of like the chance. I'm taking it.
Awesome. And then Brian, what do you do at Pulse Magazine? How much have you enjoyed it?
At Pulse Magazine, right now, I'm focused a lot in the writing pieces because a lot of those are new because we're doing our quarterly magazine and we're trying to get those stories in. So I just put in my filler. That's what I've been working on, but I do a lot of social media side. So just planning out like a content calendar, have everything sorted out, and just promote Pulse in general, just the whole magazine. So yeah, super exciting.
So you said you're doing a little bit more writing. Well, obviously we're doing a story together.
We won't
get too much into it right now.
Spoilers.
You can check out the fall quarter issue 2024 when it comes out. But how much have you done the writing before for Pulse? Because honestly, that's something I don't fully know. Have you done a lot of writing before? Or
I have.
Okay.
Yes, I used to be in Pulse. I did it my sophomore year and my junior year. So I did it for not my full junior year, but I almost did it for 2 years, so 2 school years, and then I left for a little bit because I just wanted to retire a little bit and do my other classes. I have a bunch of other classes I had to do, but now that I'm kind of sort of done with my major classes because I'm a senior right now, I'm like, you know what? I'll go back to Pulse. I had a lot of fun doing it, and Jen offered the social media position because she knows I do a lot of social media for CW Hype as well. If you guys check that out, and you can see myself embarrassing.
Oh yeah,
embarrassing myself. But yeah, so she's like, yeah, social media position opened up, and I took it. So I've been doing that this quarter.
Awesome. And then Brandon, you obviously do so much for the Observer. You've been one of our biggest heroes so far this year. I mean, there's just a list of stuff you do. Do you want to go ahead and name off what you do a little bit with the Observer?
Yeah. So I do photography. I run the social media. That's like Instagram, Facebook. We've been doing Reels this quarter, which has been fun, different. I help with stories, help writing. I help with interviews, planning things, helping people set up. So really a little bit of everything. Photography is the lead thing. It's the main reason I took the job, but I love everything I do.
Yeah, for sure. And then I want to talk to you guys a little bit about your origins of all of it. So photography, where did that start for you?
That's a great question. I think probably elementary school. I was in Boy Scouts as a kid. I never
Me too. Hey.
Yeah, I never did Eagle Scout or anything, but I got the photography merit badge.
Oh yeah.
And that was like the moment. I was like, this is it. I remember I went to the beach one time, and one of the moms in the troop had like this really nice camera. She let me borrow it. I did this panoramic shot of like the ocean and everything. And she's like, this is like really good. And I was like, thank you.
You got a future in this, don't you?
Yeah, maybe I should do it for like a career in college or something. I don't know. Who knows?
It'd only be so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what is your origin for writing, social media? Where did that all start with you? Was it CW Hype or was it anywhere else?
My origin story, it's a lot less wholesome than his, I guess, but yours was just super wholesome. It's like, yeah, I had a camera as a kid. Yeah. No, for me, I'm going to be very honest. When I was a kid, I used to hate writing. Man, if I caught you reading a book, nerd. I hated doing all that. But there was a point, I think it was around like maybe 5th grade, where I started enjoying writing a little bit more because it was sort of a release. Yeah. And being able to tell random stories that I had in my head, just because I like to think I've just always daydreamed a lot in class. I'm like, why don't I just put those in paper? And then I stopped writing for a very, very long time. And then I came back to Central and studying PR. Doing PR, you got to write a lot. There's a lot of writing pieces, the press release, news releases, all that good stuff. And it brought me back to when I was also, I guess, in elementary school, where I used to write stories to pass the time. And I'm like, why don't I do that again?
Yeah.
And I joined Pulse, and it was sort of an outlet to continue doing that a little bit and improve my writing, because if you don't write or read for a long time, obviously it gets pretty bad again.
Yeah.
So I've just been, since my freshman year, I think, just practicing and picking it up again and finding its love. And now I love it. I read all the time.
Yeah, I
Now
mean-
I'm the nerd.
Well, okay, I'll be honest. I'm not much of a reader outside of Pulse and Observer or classwork, but like I did a lot of writing throughout high school for my high school's paper, and then like you said, I stopped writing for a year or two, and it just all went out the
It
window.
just went
And
bad.
it's just like everything went out my brain. I felt like AP style was something I just had to relearn again. But it was nice being back at the Observer last year, and then I enjoy still writing now, especially about sports. There's other topics like last year's Soundbite was a lot of fun to write for, but I just enjoy writing a lot more now. So I do agree to your point of it kind of goes away if you do not have too
Yeah.
much repetition. Any social media ideas you guys have, fun plans, without, I guess, spoiling too much for this year? I loved our thing with the Observer, the little interviews. That was a lot of fun. What can
Yeah.
you say about that?
In terms of the future, yeah, we have some fun plans. I mean, I think the Observer has been so stuck in this like grind of like trying to be like a variety type Instagram page where it's just like headlines and like photos, and I think that's great, and that's like going to be our primary content. But I think just branching out and trying to be a little more comedic, be a little more goofy, do some
Yeah.
stuff like hype is pretty inspiring, honestly. For like,
Thank you.
Yeah, for giving those cool ideas, but I can't say specifics, but stuff like that, keep your eyes open. It'll happen. And the Grimace video, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that
Grimace
was
video.
great. That was I wasn't expecting. I knew you and Z were talking about it a little bit, but I wasn't sure if that was actually going to be something
Yeah,
implemented in
I
there.
don't think Z even knew. It kind of was like, I sat down to edit the footage, and I had so much footage, and I was like, this is going to be so dry. Like, no offense. I mean, the answers were great, but it's like, reels are so fast-paced and short form. You have to get someone's attention, like, right away. So, like, how can I do this? Let me just throw Grimace in the video. And that works. It worked every time. Got, like, way more retention than I thought it would.
What are some of the tactics, like you just said, you want to have that stuff, reels are so short. What are some of the tactics to getting a good amount of views on Instagram or any social media platform you guys are on?
That's a really good question. Every social media works a little different. So it's based on what social media you're working on. So some businesses, they might not have a TikTok because TikTok is for specific audiences. So their Facebook strategy might be a little bit more different than Instagram. Usually what I try doing, at least for Reels, I kind of piggyback off the Reels, it has to be quick. If anything is longer than 15 seconds, I don't like it. I don't like anything that's over. Even 30 seconds is sort of like it's kind of pushing it a little bit. It's kind of nudging and all. But I think making it quick, like you were saying, grab people's attention, do something like the Grimace. Even if it's something super duper goofy, it gets people's attention and it gets them to watch it. And getting people to watch it is super important. But that's not always the most important part about a reel. Just because you get a lot of views, it doesn't mean it was a successful reel. Sometimes videos that might be like 20 seconds and get those 20 retention seconds of people watching it through, but it only gets like 20 likes. Sometimes that can be a lot more valuable than getting 200 likes, because those relationships and those impressions that you made with the 20 people mean a lot more than, oh, hey, I heard your name, but I didn't really care. You know, I liked it. That's cool. I liked your reel, but I scrolled past it. Versus those 20 people that I'm like, I watched these whole 20 seconds and I got something out of it. Yeah.
I agree. Okay, I see you. And then Brandon, do you have anything to add on to that at all?
I would build on that, because I think another key part is like knowing your audience, and every page is going to be completely different.
Yes.
So I can say I've worked for the Fizz social media team in the past. That is so incredibly different from the Observer, because it's like I can't talk about actual strategy because of NDAs and stuff, but I can talk about like there's a personality you have to have when you run the account. You are not yourself, right? And so that's kind of the same with any account. You become the account. The account has its own life. It has its own fans, its followers, and you're kind of catering to them, and you're also trying to cater to a larger audience. But at the end of the day, I mean, you have to know your core demographic. And if that's people who want to watch like a 2-minute video, then make a 2-minute video. If that's people who you're trying to get 15 seconds of their time, get 15 seconds of their time. It's just about like doing the research, experimenting, figuring out what works, and then sticking to it.
I agree so much. I know you were talking about like how do you get people's attention, and yeah, I guess you have to know your audience because that's not always important. Like having those like grimace shake. Sometimes it's funny, and a lot of times it does work and is really successful. Like at Hype, we do a bunch of goofy stuff, like you were saying, right? But it's not always about trying to get people's attention. A lot of it is just if you can put your voice of your business out there, the audience is going to be there for it. So.
I've seen a lot of just like social media, like in terms of sports teams, relating it back to that. I see so many people just complaining about dry sports team pages on Instagram. And then now, for example, my favorite team, I don't know who they hired this offseason, but they bring so much, I guess, life to the social media page. And it just makes it so much more enjoyable than compared to
Which one? I think I know what you're talking
Green
about.
Bay Packers.
Green Bay Packers. I started following them on Instagram.
They're so good this year.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely entertained every single time I watch a video, and sometimes they're 3.5 minutes long, like long interviews, and sometimes they're like really short, simple videos.
But they know their fans.
Exactly.
They know their fans.
Yeah.
And I think, like you guys said, that is definitely key. Knowing your fans is gonna definitely benefit you a lot more when it comes to your social media. And then I want to ask you guys both, little off topic here, just personal questions. I know you are a huge music person. I don't know how big of a music person you are, but who are your guys' favorite artists?
Okay, I'll take it first. I'm gonna say Kendrick Lamar, number one. Been to my number one. Will remain my number one.
Yep.
It's a California man.
Yeah, California man through and through. I'll shout out Delphonics. It's an old group from the 70s, Funky Little Soul.
Okay.
They have some really, really good hidden gem albums. Search them up. Doechii right now, I've been on a big Doechii craze. I think her latest project was amazing. I'd love to see her future in the industry. I could talk about LA rappers for a while. Just I would say go to Kendrick Lamar, scroll down, check out other fans you may like, this. Go down a rabbit hole, you will find someone really cool.
Got you. Okay. And then Brian, go ahead.
My music taste is a little different. I like a lot of corridos. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. I like Natanael Cano a lot. He's a recent guy that has been blowing up. I also, I'm gonna sound like such a stereotype, but dude, I kind of like Peso Pluma low-key.
The who?
I listen to Peso Pluma.
Oh.
Have you ever heard?
I have not.
Well,
I'll
there
be
you
honest.
go. He makes a lot of corrido music, like
Got you.
Spanish music, I guess. I listen to a lot of that mostly. Javi, he recently released an album. Also, if you know, you know, he recently released it, and I've been just re-listening to it a lot. So it's usually my music taste, but it also switches a lot because when I'm studying, I listen to indie rock.
Okay.
So then I turn into a white guy.
There's a different type of vibe most of the time for different situations.
And then I'm feeling cool, and I'll be like writing back, and I'll be listening to like Kendrick Lamar as well. I'll be like, I'll listen to like. I used to listen to a lot of Pop Smoke. I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my uncles, growing up, they listened to a lot of 90s rap. So a lot of that Ice Cube and Snoop Dogg. So then I, obviously growing up around them, I also listened to that. Even though I'm just a kid that grew up with, you know, in the suburbs, whatever.
Who's your guilty pleasure artist, if there's anyone?
Ooh.
I got one. Ariana Grande. for
Okay, I
sure.
mean, yeah.
I feel like it's so different than any other artist I listen to, and she manages to sneak her way onto every playlist.
That's
I'm not
fair.
afraid to say it. I think she's great.
What's that artist that goes, and just to fly away?
Brandon, that's you.
Wait, I know that song.
You know what
too.
I'm talking about,
I
dude.
feel
It's
like
like
I
everywhere.
feel like I've heard it, but I couldn't tell
Oh,
you.
Yeah.
Caliucci's.
Caliucci's.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I
She's my
love
guilty
Caliucci's
pleasure,
stuff.
man. I'll put the discography on
Yeah.
Spotify and I'll listen to that, and I'm just with my speaker doing homework. I have the craziest vibe
That's
going
not
on.
even a guilty pleasure though. She's just
She's
good.
just good.
She's
Those
just good.
vocals are
Yeah.
insane.
I'm trying to look right now to see if we have any of Caliucci's.
Man,
playing.
I should have kept.
Well, I'll tell you what. Every
Caliucci's.
time I come in here and I see the queue for music, Caliucci's is on there.
Caliucci's
Yeah.
is gonna be on there. Yes,
Game changer.
game changer.
Okay, I want to talk to you guys about your hometowns. Obviously, you're from California. We'll talk to you about that in a second. Brian, where are you from?
I am from the Tri-Cities. I'm from the
Tri-Cities.
east side of Washington State.
What's it like there? What's home for you?
Different.
Okay.
I'll tell you that right now. I love Tri-Cities personally because it's got that small town vibe, but it's still like pretty big. I mean, we got Target. It's not like Ellensburg small where there's just a Fred Meyer. We have Targets, we have Chipotle's, we got
Okay.
Popeyes, you know?
It's a town.
So you get kind of the best of both worlds. I think that's what I love so much about my hometown. You get that small feel, but there's also a lot of people in town, and you can go to a random store and you'll meet somebody new, right? It isn't just like the same two people, like a 200 people town, right? So you get the best of both worlds.
So then on the complete other spectrum, there's California.
Yeah, there
So
is.
different.
Yeah, so I grew up split between Ventura, which shout out if you know Ventura, you probably don't, and then San Diego. So Ventura, growing up, it was till like middle school. Then we went to San Diego. Ventura is a much smaller town, a little bit north of LA, maybe like an hour and a half with traffic, LA traffic. But growing up there, I mean, right by the beach at all times, surfing, skateboarding, all kind of stuff. That's huge. Music scene's different, culture's different, people talk a little different. But I love it there. Love Ventura. And then when we moved to San Diego, I mean, even that was different because we're going from Ventura's pretty big compared to Ellensburg, but compared to like LA and San Diego, not at all.
Yeah.
So going from there to San Diego, it's like, whoa, this is completely different. And high school in San Diego for me, we didn't have a football team. We had a surf team. We had an Olympian at our school.
Surf team is crazy.
Yeah, Olympic skateboarder at our school. It was in garden club with me. So it's like, it's so different than here, and I love it here. But it is like, I mean, our campus was open campus, and all of our classes were like outside and stuff. I mean, all my art classes were outside. Everything was outside.
That was awesome.
Yeah, and at lunch, you just walk down to the beach because it's like a 20-minute walk. So it's like,
quick lunch break down to the
Can you
beach.
give me
Is
a
all.
Ventura accent?
Ventura accent?
Yeah.
Okay, I would say, sup, dude? What's going on, man?
That's cool.
Well, all right. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about some stories you guys have written as well. Specifically, Brandon, I want to talk to you about your front page story. I want to know if you want to talk a little bit about it. We'll go ahead and flash this to the camera real quick, too. Hopefully that, yeah.
Oh, you wrote that?
Yeah,
I read that the other day.
Well, Brandon, go ahead. Talk about it a little bit.
I'll talk through this story. So, I've been interested in the school's financials since the start of this year because I feel like I came here and things changed. And I would say some ways in a bad way and some ways in a good way. And that's obviously not objective. That's subjective. Everyone's going to notice different things. For me, I've noticed changes in dining, like big changes in dining. That kind of prompted me to be like, okay, what's going on at like the budget level? And I've noticed classes being cut and professors, transitioning to online, stuff like that. So reached out to Clucking, got an interview, and I think it was really productive. I mean, we talked about how the colleges get their budgets, the old funding system versus the new one. It's a Q&A article, this one, so if you want to hear what he said, I mean, it is pretty much straight from his mouth.
Yeah.
We didn't really change anything. And then I don't know if I can talk about what I'm working on, but we are working on follow-ups, and I've reached out to him to comment again, and so stuff like that.
Don't spoil too much. You can
no,
leave that for the
I know.
observer.
Yeah, but so yeah, I think the school's financials are important to know as a student. Like, if you are going to go here and give this school thousands and thousands of dollars of your money, you should know what it's going towards.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that because we're a government institution, there is transparency with that. And so I think just getting that transparency out there and publishing it is important, and that's what inspired this.
Cool. And then also you write the soundbite too, but this definitely got to be your favorite story you've written for the Observer.
Yeah. And honestly, I think my favorite to work on was the Cheech story because I got to interview Cheech.
Yeah.
And that was really cool for me because obviously he's from South Central LA. So I grew up with some Cheech and Chong movies, Up in Smoke, Next Movie. Grew up with them, voice acting in Lion King, Cars. So I'd say that one to write it wasn't as impactful, I feel, as this one, but it was it was kind of like a I made it experience for me to be interviewing him, even if it was such a short interview, because it was like, this is it. This is like why I took this job. This is why I'm at the Observer. I get these opportunities, and I'm very grateful for them.
Absolutely. And then, Brian, is there any, I know we obviously don't have a story right now for you.
Not right now.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But is there a favorite story you have written at Pulse Magazine? Just a favorite, whether it's design that went along with it or just the story itself that you wrote?
I think maybe it was probably a year ago that I wrote it. It was a relationship story. And you can check it out. It's probably be in the Pulse
What
somewhere.
issue? Do you remember?
I do not remember the exact issue.
You'll search every Pulse magazine from last year.
Sometime last year or something like that. But I really, really liked it because I was a big fan of the design. First of all, I think that turned out gorgeously, and I also can't remember who designed it.
Those designers are great.
I would have been prepared, man. But yeah, the designers we have at Pulse, even this quarter, are awesome. And they do a fantastic job, and I gotta applaud them because I could never do what they do. I go on Photoshop and I'm lost.
Creative. I'm not that.
I'm not that creative. I can write you a story, but I won't illustrate it. I really liked it because of that, but also it was just the story. I think it was the first story that I got that was just my own, because up to that point I have written my own pieces, but a lot of them, the ones that I also had was just with collaborative. So I've actually worked with Isaac in Pulse. It's called Losing Games. It was from issue even before that one. And that was one of the ones where I'm like, okay, I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable doing this. I get to go interview people. I'm super comfortable doing it when I'm writing. I have something figured out. I know how I want the story to look like. And I think it was the smoothest story I've ever written. And I think that's why it's my favorite. It just flowed right while as I was working on it, kind of just finished. I'm like, oh, that was awesome.
And then I don't really have much else for you guys, but what I do want to ask, I guess we talked about it earlier, but Halloween costumes. We're going to be in New Orleans. What is your plan, Brian?
Ooh, I'm thinking of being a minion, to be honest.
That's right. You
I
did say
have
that.
a shirt. All I need is some good overalls, which I should have bought anyways because overalls are comfortable.
Yeah.
Hello. But I'm going to buy some overalls, and I wear glasses. I don't have them right here because I have a headache. But these are my goggles. These glasses right here, and I just need a beanie. And then
Built-in goggles.
Built-in goggles.
And then Brandon, to be determined.
To be determined, although I really want to be man in the yellow hat because I'm tall and skinny and white, and I was like,
that would be
like,
funny.
You Slenderman or something,
yeah,
too?
exactly.
Slenderman,
Minecraft skeleton. I mean, the list goes on and on. But I'm running down to Party City on Friday, so we'll see what they have.
You find something.
Yeah.
I'm in the process of ordering my Dipper Pines stuff from Gravity Falls.
You're going to be Dipper?
I don't know what
That's
else
awesome.
to be, so I'm like, I might as well buy myself a vest. I grew up on Gravity Falls. That was my childhood.
It's a good show.
Dude, I think I cried the final episode. When the final episode came out, I was probably like 12 years old, bawling my eyes out.
As you should,
I
man.
know,
PNW show, you know?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Do you watch Gravity Falls?
I've seen like 1 or 2 episodes.
Man.
I didn't grow up here, man.
That's
It is what it is.
It is a PNW show.
It is a
I
PNW
guess.
show, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on here. Hopefully have you guys on throughout the rest of the year for the Student Media Podcast. You guys have been great co-hosts, and I hope to see you guys soon on here.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I enjoyed talking.
And then up next, we actually got music and ads first, but music picked out by both Brandon and Brian, so we'll play that for you guys now. Hey, Windenburg, your Music Central. Welcome back for the second half of this third edition of the Student Media Podcast. Just had Brian Valencia and Brandon Matisech on the show just a little bit ago. If you guys are just now tuning in, it was a lot of fun talking to them about what they do in their respective positions. One being at Pulse Magazine, one being at The Observer. Just kind of seeing what maybe the differences are, as well as just getting to know both of them as well. Both really cool people, some good friends of mine. I'm excited to go down to New Orleans with them for the ACP conference. And it's going to be a ton of fun with them. And I'm just excited to keep the Student Media Podcast rolling. Next week, I'm going to try to have the sports broadcast people on, being Ryan Gildersleeve and Cash Brown. If not, I got next week planned for you guys some graphic designers coming in. The graphic designers are some of our heroes at the paper and the magazine. They do so much work behind the scenes and stay later than some of the writers are most of the time. So I have tons of respect for them. But we'll get into that another week. That's just me flooding out my respect for those graphic designers. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about some events happening here on campus. We'll start with the food and drink section. So I'm just going to kind of cover some of the specials going on at the Cirque this week. This isn't including Homes Dining. This is just including places like Lions Rock, El Gato, that little stretch of restaurants, if you want to call them, in that area. So Monday, it is going to be a Western Burger at Lions Rock. So obviously that's yesterday. Too bad y'all missed out on it, possibly. If you didn't, let me know how it was. Feel free to text in at 509-963-2311. One more time, that's 509-963-2311. Let me know what you thought about what you had over the Western Burger at Lions Rock, or even today's special, the Supreme Torta at El Gato. So let me know what you think about that. Also, let me know of other ideas you guys want to see for the Student Media Podcast, or even when we're live, feel free to send in some questions as well. So Wednesday now, it's some chicken skewer bowls at Fresh Bar. That sounds really good. I'm not going to lie. If I lived on campus, I would be all over that one. And then at the pasta place on Thursday is a baked sausage penne. So also sounds really good, making me miss being on campus a little bit. And there's a pizza sub on Friday at the pizza place. As soon as you walk into that area of the Cirque on the left, you'll see the little pizza area. Wood fire as well. It's super nice. And so feel free to check out some of that, especially the pizza sub. That actually sounds really good too. I'm a big pizza fan, and you put that on a sub, once again, I am messing that up. We'll move on to our town now. So National LGBT Center Awareness Day was 3 days ago. One of these days, I swear we will have a holiday fall on the day that Student Media Podcast is running, but we're 0 for 2 so far. on the year. But yes, so National LGBT Center Awareness Day 3 days ago. I want to shout out our Diversity and Equity Center. There's a definitely huge space of inclusion and makes everyone feel welcome there, and I just wanted to shout them out as well, especially for the Awareness Day that happened 3 days ago. And then we'll move on to some Observer stories too. I know we just kind of talked a little bit with the writer of the front page story, Brandon Matisich, but I want to talk about some of the other stories as well. So we'll flip through here a little bit for you guys. I'll shout out where you can find the Observer issues and Pulse magazines. It'll be blue stands. You'll walk into some of your class buildings and you'll see it. Usually it's as right as you walk in. There's sometimes more than one in a building. They are not in your dorms, though, so don't go looking for them in there. They are primarily on campus buildings that aren't dorms. So we'll move on to this sports page. Look at this sports page. As the sports editor, I must say this looks really good. I hope you guys can see that. Let me try to actually get that in there. Man, there you go. It's kind of folding down, but here, let's do this better. I am not holding this good. There we go. So this page right here, story on our volleyball team, won 7 straight games. First time since last year when they made a playoff push to get into the GNAC tournament. And this page is on trainer Janie Klumper's. Trainers definitely don't get the recognition they deserve here at Central. They put in a lot of work, and in this story, I was even more informed of how much work they're putting in, whether it's their pregame routines, not routines, but their pregame practices of taping up players, the amount of student athletes that they're helping throughout the day, and then also the scary scenarios on the field as well. Klumpers gave a lot of painted a picture of a lot of situations when she's had to come in and help someone who is extremely injured, and it's very anxiety inducing if I was in the position, but her talking about it was very interesting to read. So I suggest you guys go and give those a read as well. Moving on past that, we have the Celebrating Filipino American History Month, written by someone who's part of both Observer and Pulse. That'd be Cam Schindewolf Broyles. And then also we have Isaac Hinson, editor-in-chief. Man, I need to stop holding this up in a wrong way. Here we go. And also, I apologize now for the people who are online or who aren't online listening. They're listening live right now. You cannot see the paper I am flashing, but it is the Observer issue that just came out this past week. The new issue will be coming out Thursday. That will drop all around campus, like I said a little bit ago. But Isaac Hinson wrote a great piece on what you should watch for Halloween and listed a couple of movies and where to watch them. Those being, looks like Fright Night, available on Max. There was also Hellraiser, available on Prime. The First Omen on Hulu. Saint Maud, I hope I am saying that correctly because I have not seen it. That one is available on Prime as well. So just a few movies that Isaac, our very own movie specialist, that man is a movie freak. He knows all of it. That's probably the most... Movie freak sounds weird. I'm sorry, Isaac, if you're listening. Isaac is probably one of the most well-knowledged and just is really immersed in movies, and he really knows what he is talking about, whether it comes to the structure of movies or just that man just has good movie taste, and he's putting me on some good movies a lot. If you meet Isaac Hinson, ask him what movie you should watch or how the Observer's doing. I bet he'd appreciate that too. And then this final page, this is kind of embarrassing for me, so just bear with me here. Here are some pumpkins we carved, and you can't quite see it too well. So this one is my pumpkin. If you are watching on YouTube or on the Pulse website, that is Pennywise. It may not look like it, but I promise it was. A little bit of a mistake carved into his hair. That man is missing his left eyebrow, and his left eye itself is meshing in with his hair. I am not happy to say that he is on my front porch, caving in, and I think it's time that I'm about to toss him. I think I'm going to start painting pumpkins instead. Not a carver. I try to be creative. I took the ambitious route for sure, and it didn't quite go how I was expecting to. Or I guess, honestly, it did go how I was expecting to. It didn't quite, the execution wasn't up to the standard that I wanted to. But I knew this was going to be a difficult task. But hey, you know what? I tried to get it done. I put my best effort in. We'll take it. It's on my front porch, looking not so pretty right now. Okay, so we'll move on now to, I would say fashion. I did talk a little bit ago, if you were listening, about my Halloween outfit. I am a huge Gravity Falls fan. I love Gravity Falls since I was a little kid. I'm going as Dipper Pines. I'm going to be in New Orleans for Halloween, so it's going to be pretty fun going down there with all the Observer crew, as well as Brian from Pulse Magazine as well. And I guess he's going as a minion. If you missed it, I'm going as Dipper Pines. I got to get to ordering all my stuff probably immediately after this, though. Got to get the pine tree hat, vest, some maybe some khaki-ish shorts, brown shorts, something like that. And then I'll be on my way to New Orleans and enjoying myself on Halloween, I guess. So sports-wise, we'll move down there. 31-0 victory for your CWU football team. Traveled down to Texas A&M Kingsville and took them on 131-0, so a sweep as well. We also just got Offensive Player of the Week was Kennedy McGill, the quarterback. Defensive Player of the Week for the Lone Star Conference, Daniel Matagai. So he had 3 sacks and 4 tackles for loss. Heck of a game from him. Observer may or may not be putting out a story on him, so if you guys want to if you guys want to read that, stay up to date with this next issue of the Observer, like I said, coming out on Thursday. So homecoming game is this weekend too. And homecoming is always such a fun night fun game throughout the season. Usually is senior night. Not quite sure if that's going to be the case this year because I don't know if this is our final home game, but regardless, homecoming night, there's going to be tailgates going on, hot dogs, burgers, drinks, everything. And then during the game, good football. Our team is good this year, people. Make sure to go out to Tomlinson Stadium and watch this team. There is tons of talent from quarterback to with Kennedy McGill, Tyler Flanagan at running back, Slade Edwards on the O-line, to the defense with Isaac Clark and Matagai on the D-line. Chase Lloydhammer won Defensive Player of the Week a few weeks ago. We have the reigning Ron Lenz Defensive Player of the Year and Tanner Volk. We have some studs on this team. Make sure to get out to Tomlinson Stadium, especially this Saturday. Root for your Wildcats. These past couple weeks, we've been doing some fun stuff with the kind of color coding when you go to the games. We had whiteout night, we had blackout night, and I'm sure at some point we're gonna have like a red out or something. So it's something I really enjoy seeing with college football. College football environment is some of my favorite environments in all of sports, and so I'm happy that Tomlinson Stadium has been rocking this year, and I'm excited to see hopefully some more of you guys make it out there as well. So we'll move to volleyball now. We talked about volleyball in that past story where they went on a 7-game win streak. Well, Parker Wood, our staff reporter there who wrote that story, we were talking earlier, and I hate to say it, Parker Wood jinxed them. Parker jinxed them. Not actually, I won't put the blame on Parker. We did lose the 8th game of our 8-game stretch there. We had 7 straight wins. The 8th game we unfortunately dropped, but we immediately came back and beat our rivals, Western Washington University, swept them 3-0 in the sets, and resulted in another win. So now that means that we have won. Let me do the math. That would be 8 out of the 9 of our last, or 8 out of the of our 9 last games. So clap it up for our volleyball team, football team too. Athletics here at CWU have been popping, and they've been doing so good. Rugby won 106-0. I'm going to leave it at that. What more needs to be said? Oh my goodness. They beat University of Oregon. And now I'm done. So, and one more thing I wanted to say, if you guys go on to the CWU Athletics Instagram, you will see pinned at the top is the support for Ellis Nelson. And if you go into their Instagram bio, they have a GoFundMe there for Ellis because he did, unfortunately, get Burkitt lymphoma, is out for some time right now. And so there is places where you can donate to help his cause. And then also, I'm just really hoping for a speedy recovery. Talked a little bit about it this week. And I just, once again, hoping for a speedy recovery. And I know that's got to be difficult on the mental of Ellis as well, but I believe he can come back stronger than ever and is really going to show his will once he is back. So I guess for now, I'm going to end the show here. Like I said, next week, we're going to be trying to bring on sports broadcasting people from here at 88.1, good friends of mine as well, Ryan Gildersleeve and Cash Brown. But if not, next week, I also have backup plan for you guys with some graphic designers. Like I said, those people put in tons of work. And if you pick up an issue of either the Observer or Pulse magazine, you're going to be floored with the designs. They are some really creative people and really hardworking people as well. But I appreciate you guys joining, and I know they're not here anymore right now, but Brandon Matisich and Brian Valencia, when they were here, I appreciate them coming on to the show as well, and I appreciate you guys, the listeners, listening as well, whether you're in your car right now, heading home from class, or an early day at work, I guess, as it's 3:40. Hey, I'd be jealous if you're getting off that early, but I'm happy to have you guys listening, or if you're on the Student Media Podcast in Pulse website or YouTube. So thanks again for listening, and I will catch you guys next week, oh my goodness, people, I'm slacking. Next week, there is no student media podcast. We will be in New Orleans. So the next week after that is when all these stuff that I was just talking about will be planned. So I apologize for not having a show next week. We're going to be down at the ACP conference in New Orleans, meeting a lot of cool graduates from media and journalism, as well as some people who just really know what they're doing, kind of picking their brains and applying that into our paper or our student media here on campus. So false alarm on the show next week. Don't listen in at 3 o'clock unless you're going to want to be listening to some music, because I will not be talking. But as for that, I will catch you guys in a couple weeks, and have a nice rest of your day.